Hello.
Hi.
We're matching.
Matchy matchy.
We started the party off right.
I think we are rocking the Gossip Girl vibes.
Yes,
Yeah.
XOXO.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about you as a founder, you as an entrepreneur, what that looks like as a woman. What have been
Yeah.
some of the challenges just being a female in this space?
Well, I think at first, like, it's obviously a man's world sometimes, right? I mean, I'm going to just bring out the elephant in the room. But I think access to capital is the first challenge. I found that it was like really hard to find money
Mm-hmm.
to put behind a project that was very much needed in this world. And I think that's kind of how I ended up going from founder to angel investor, is because you kind of have to go and give back, and
Yeah.
you don't even realize how being an angel investor is an entrepreneur moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're investing in other women, you're getting to be a part of multiple projects, which I think is one of the coolest things about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of setbacks from the very beginning.
Yeah, mostly like
Yeah,
accessing funding as a
I think
founder.
so.
Yeah.
Well, mostly, but then secondly, it's very lonely because you're trying to do all the things and you don't have the big team in the beginning, and sometimes not even in the end, really.
Yeah.
We are such a small team at Total Mom Inc., and my husband works with me, and like I find that, at the end of the day, like sometimes I wish that I had the team to orchestrate and actually finish and complete the things that
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes I really want to see come to fruition. So
Yeah.
that's where the capital comes in, right? Like, if you have the money to hire the team, then you can see it through.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not always easy for us women, and especially in Canada.
Yeah. What advice would you have for women that want to get into the field, that want to be founders, want to be entrepreneurs, that have ideas, and maybe they're just intimidated to get it started?
Oh, I would always recommend just get started right away.
Yeah.
But sharing your story and your passion with as many people as you possibly can,
Yeah.
because you just never know who is going to be that person pivotal to your journey that will connect you with somebody that's going to lift you up. I was talking earlier on the fireside chat that, there's a lot of gatekeeping in the industry, but at the other side of it, there's also a lot of amazing people who
Mm-hmm.
want to see women rise up. And so it's just like, if you don't raise your hand, if you don't get out there, if you don't go on social, if you don't share your story of like who you are and why you're doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
how can you enroll and register people to support you and back you and fund you if they don't know about you, right?
Yeah.
So just sharing your journey is probably more important than working on your business, because your business will need other people's perspectives and it'll need other people's um, expertise. And
Mm-hmm.
so I try to say, don't go out there and try to do it all. Tell your story, and then people will like come into your sphere and they'll start doing their
Yeah.
magic.
Well, it's amazing how when you put something in the air, and I know that's spiritual to say, but when I put something in the air, I find it attracts to me. Like, I feel like the more you share, the more you learn, the more you grow. But there's power in just like striking up conversation with people and telling them your ideas or telling them your goals,
Yeah,
obviously in an authentic way, but
for sure.
there's power in just sharing information, and you never know. Sometimes it's like you say one thing to someone and they're like, "Oh, I know someone in marketing, or I know
Yeah,
somebody in manufacturing." And
yeah.
next thing you know, you're moving a lot more forward. But getting in those rooms with like-minded individuals is so important. And I know a lot of
Actually,
women don't
oh
network.
my gosh, when you just said that, getting in those rooms. So a lot of women, I hear women complain about how expensive events are.
Yeah.
And I get it. They are expensive. But as a woman, you should feel confident in investing in yourself
Hmm.
and paying to get into the room. And then once you are in the place where you can afford to be in those rooms, or you have now been invited to those rooms, make sure you give back to women before you or after you that can't do the same. So,
Yeah.
for example, one of the projects I'm working on is the Canadian Women Entrepreneur Industry Gala. And we have like two facets of it. One is the industry and the big brands and the companies that can afford it. So they're the ones that will like
Yeah.
buy the table, do the sponsorships. But then there's the women that want to be in that room and super connect, but they can't afford a ticket of that price. So we have a program and initiative where it quite literally like sits more women at the table at no cost to them. So do both. Don't just be
Yeah.
inaccessible to everyone. If you're a founder and you have this like great idea, there's nothing wrong with like having premium and high quality products, but you can have a premium and high quality product, but have impact and just really think about how each sale is going back to something important to you or a cause
Yes.
that you're passionate about.
Love
There's
that.
always a way to give back and still get a little bit too. There's like, it's
It's
just
a
the best.
balance.
Yeah, it's a balance.
Yeah.
And I feel like without impact and without like actually giving back, you're not going to get far, not because it's the right thing to do, but because there's an energy and vibration behind the karma of like actually doing good things
I
for people
agree.
and knowing that things will come back for you. And I've had a lot of situations where I've given so much where I've put myself last, and then I'm in that really tight situation, and then it comes back and like just works out in the end. So
Yeah, like
ugh.
financially tight. Like you've given
Yeah.
so much that you're like, oh, okay, I have to worry about myself right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think impact, like change makers and people who are passionate, and actually people who have had stories
yeah,
of struggle. Like I'm a two-time immigrant and refugee. Like I've seen so much. I've been through so much, and I don't lean on that as my crutch. I use it as my fuel and inspiration to see people get further ahead, and
yeah,
that's why I think my lens is a little bit different because I've been at the very, very bottom, like of the dumps,
yeah,
essentially. Like I just, I can't be here where I am now with my success and not actually do something that is not about me. You know what I
hmm
mean? It's not about just us. It's about the environment and like who we're all surrounded by and like how if we're all healthy and happy and supported, then essentially it's a better world.
yeah,
You know, you don't have to be like the peace change maker and like try to solve all of the world's challenges in one company, but if you pick one and you put a lot of effort into that, you can make a significant impact.
yeah. There's a lot to be said about understanding your finances and being well aware of your finances. Like I will
Yeah.
say, for example, because I started at 13 years old and I started so young, it's
Yeah, you started
22
young.
years in the industry. I've early on, especially, you make a bunch of money and you're young, so you're just excited. You're like, I can afford all of these things. But I went through that phase where I had no concept of money, even though my parents tried to teach me and instill it in me. There was no
Yeah.
concept of money.
Yeah.
And I crashed and burned. And there was a moment where I was in such a bad place. I was at the lowest I could ever be. And when I got back up again, I had this poverty complex, so to speak, where
Mm.
I was scared to do everything. I was making poor decisions. I wasn't thinking future. And a lot of when you have fear in what you're doing, you're not confident. You're not
You're not
assertive.
making the right
You're not
decisions.
going to take the
Yeah.
same risks.
Yeah.
And then I had to change my mindset and my psychology with money because there was a moment of, wait, yeah, okay, you don't want to go back to the bottom again,
Yeah.
but there's something to be said about being at the bottom and getting out of it
Mhm.
that you can do that again.
I know, right? It
It,
kind of gives you that confidence to take the
yes.
risks
Yes.
and knowing that like you will get out of it, right? And you have a
Absolutely.
choice. I think it's crazy that you just said that because when you experience it in the moment, that fear mentality, it will never get you abundance. And so that mindset is everything because say you have a challenge and like for example, sometimes I'm like, "Oh my god, I need X amount more sponsorships or whatever." You can't run around begging people for things. You can't be thinking like it's not going to happen. You just show up who you are, beautifully you, believing in the project that you're working on, and like it'll happen. But
Yeah.
like people don't resonate with scarcity mindset, and people don't want to get behind energy that's frantic and like
Yeah, it feels
whatever.
unstable.
Yeah, unstable,
Yeah.
right? And so confidence and a mindset of like calm and just like asking and showing up and just being vulnerable can get a project a really long way.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
always say failure is data, and you can't get that
it is.
data out otherwise. To speak on you as an investor, because I know you invest too,
Yeah,
and you've
yeah.
had a journey in that. So, what was your first
Investment.
investment like, and what did that feel like in your
Okay, I'm so
mind?
proud of this. So my first investment was a company called Toro Matcha.
Okay.
And there was just word on the street that they were looking for investment. And I don't know, I had the balls to like reach out and say, what kind of investors are you looking for? And I mean, I had no idea what investing really looked like at the time, and I
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of money, so I just wanted to see. But I learned that there was these platforms online where you can like invest 10K, and it goes into a pool, and then if you stick around, they'll let you in on that next investment, and it's even more, and like there's
Yeah.
safe agreements, all these fun things. forget the terms. I was just so pumped about it. And so I invested and they blew up and like I loved receiving the updates and being like, yes, like I believed in this company.
Yes.
It's doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. And I'm a part of that. Like I
Yeah.
helped them when they needed money. And it wasn't a lot of money, but I think if you think about it mentally, like for them to see random people they don't know say, you are going to do well, I believe in you, is the most exciting part of investing for me.
Yeah.
And most recently, I just invested in a company called Marlowe, and Nadia
Mm.
Ladek, who is incredible, by the way, you have to follow her on LinkedIn. They are essentially just like transforming the not maternal, they are transforming the like woman reproductive
Oh.
space. They've created quite literally organic, all natural cotton tampons with
Wow.
like lubrication, and they're trying to change the entire game because I don't know if you know, but like so many women suffer from so many diseases and ailments and like pain because most tampons on the market have bleaches
Mm.
and chemicals and all this stuff in it. And so these girls are just changing the game, and I hope they're the next biggest thing in the grocery aisle and everywhere so that
Yeah.
all women and girls can feel happy and healthy. And this is such a big topic to tackle, right? Like women's reproductive health it's important, and
Yeah.
we deserve high quality products that are
Mhm.
not going to make us sick. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's been exciting.
Yeah.
And I've been doing things like joining the Firehood as an investor and trying to discover more women owned. I think women owned right now is like a big focus for me just because the
Yeah.
stats are so grim. Like less than 4% women get investment. It's like a tattoo on my body. I can never forget it.
Yeah.
I always hear that number and I'm like, how do I change that? And I think also in the future, investing in these companies and brands will also set me up for success so I can chill out after all the grind that I'm doing as a founder and entrepreneur myself
Yes.
now, right? To have my
Absolutely.
own income later on to just enjoy with my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was so nice talking to you, Nana.
You too. Ah, Keshia
Yes.
Chanté.